All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 8th of the Freelance Training for Beginners, the second edition. So today, we're going to be talking about creating your value pack. After this training, what would have been said or what should happen to see that this training is meaningful, is impactful, is productive to you, is that at the end of this training, if you already have a skill, if you already have a passion, if you already have a talent, if you already have some experience, if you already have something that you know how to do well, it will be expected that you're able to productize that thing that you know how to do well after this training. That is probably the only way we're going to be able to say that these 10 days or this number of days that we spent here doing all the talk and doing all the education, or how do I say it now, this training and interaction, it would have been said that it was indeed productive and you were able to translate what you have gathered and learned here into something that is going to be tangible, productive, and valuable to your life. If you are not able to do that, then it means that yes, it's okay. You just came to a platform where you're able to get information, and maybe in a later day you want to decide to do something else with it, or it will be permissible if you don't already have a skill, or if you are not sure you have an expertise, or you have a strength or a gift or a passion in a certain area that you're sure that people will be willing to pay for it. But if you already have that, the output of this training should be that I would expect to see you in the couple months or even weeks begin to think about how you can productize your service, call it a name, call it a service, put a price tag on it, design something that shows or that represents exactly what it is you want the people to take, or the value that you want to give out to the people when when you're ready to sell whatever it is you're ready to sell. That would be the testimonials or the value or the feedback or the output for this engagement that we would have set to have in the next 10 days. And in fact, one of the things that we want to do, if you notice in the bonus classes, we wanted to be able to also teach you how you can get that to happen using your already existing social media pages, whether it's on Facebook you're on, or it is on Instagram you're on, or whatever platform you've chosen to be able to put word out there. In fact, for some of you, even as basic as just your WhatsApp is enough to get people to buy whatever product, skill, service, or whatever it is you have. So what we're saying in actual sense, or in essence, is that we want you to consider productizing your service, productizing your skill. There's a word called productization. It's a big word, but it just means how you can put together the initial things you need to put together to be able to create a product out of your service. Okay. And in this case, we're going to see that product does not necessarily mean has to be something on the shelf or in a market or in a supermarket. No, product can actually be a service. And that's why it is always used interchangeably. Even the bank will tell you they have a product, even though in actual fact, it is a service that they have. So both product and services can be used interchangeably. So when you hear us talking about product, do not think that it has to be tangible. Products can actually be also intangible, and product can be service as well. So more specifically, we're going to be learning about service productization, because again, in the world of freelancing, our work, our value, or whatever it is we give is basically service-based. For example, you are here for this next 10 days that we're here, you are buying a product from me, even though, yes, it's offered for free, but if you were going to pay for this service, it would have been that you would have paid whatever value I deem fit or I think is equated to the kind of service and with regards to my time and my expertise or whatever information I had to give to you. I can put a price tag on it. It could be 10,000, it could be 20,000, it could even be 100,000. It just depends on who I want to reach with the information that I have and how much I'm willing to sell it. And trust me, I tell a couple people in my class that this same training that we're having, even though it's the early stage, we're still formulating and trying to fine tune it. You'll be amazed that in the third batch, I would decide to sell it for 50,000. And trust me, there'll be people willing to buy, even if there are only 5 people or 10 people, because there's something called like a coaching session, right? I can choose to turn it into a coaching session and put it at the price tag of even 100,000, and somebody will be willing to buy. But for someone like me, I like to reach a certain kind of people, the people at the middle segment of society, or even at the basement. And so I try to see that some of these things that we have already and we want to share them are not so expensive. But trust me, personally, I also have other things that we do that is as high as we sell a particular product put together for 1.5, depending on who we want to sell them to. So it also depends on you. By the time you are done researching, designing, analyzing the value of the service that you want to offer, you have to decide who will buy them. You have to decide who the target market will be. And by the time you do that research and put all the elements together, it will also help you get clarity as to what sort of pricing to put on the products based off of who you are targeting to buy them. Okay, so service productization is the process of creating a product. Simply put, it's just a process of creating a product or creating a service or even your offers with the skills, with the expert skills, or even if it is not even an expert skills, if you know that you have a skill that other people would need, it might not necessarily be an expert one. Somebody like me who's talking to you, I cannot say I'm an expert, so to speak, even in the things that I'm trying to share with you today, because I'm also still in the learning phase. But there's going to come a time when after maybe like a 10, 15, 20 years of experience, I can call myself an expert because I would have done this thing over and over again. And I would have also experimented to know what works and what does not work. So even if you're not an expert in any area, so long as you have a know-how, so long as you have something that people will be willing to take from you and pay you in exchange, you can productize that service, okay? So you have to do a check, a research in retrospect to find out what exactly is that thing that you currently have, or what exactly is that thing that you have the potential to learn even now, so that by the time you learn them and you think you have the expertise in that area, you can now consider to productize them. So service productization is a process of creating a product, a service, or offers with expert skill and know-how that show exact deliverables or value. Because at the end of the day, again, it still boils down to value. So in the business of consulting, and when I say consulting, it might seem like a big word, but consulting is always used interchangeably with services, because services means that you are consulting or you are exchanging the service, not necessarily like you're giving them a handy or a tangible product. So when we say consulting, you can still call yourself a servicing individual, a freelancer, okay, or whatever it is you do. So in the business of consulting, freelancing, digital marketing, social media, writing, designing, creative, and all that, it can be a little confusing to productize your service or to meet certain clients' requirements. And like I said, it is always not so easy to sell services because, again, most people will not have something to hold on to. So if somebody wants to buy a pack of water, for example, they just walk into a store and they just pick up a pack of water and they pay. That way, there is no doubt in the process as to what is the quality of water, because they can already see it's tangible. They can feel it, right? They can see it. They can see what level of quality it is. But when someone wants to buy services from you, they are not sure what level of quality that service will be. They are not sure if you will meet up with the time frame in terms of delivery. Like we have the funny scenario with people who provide service in Nigeria, like tailors, or like tailors more notoriously. You find that when you give them your clothes to sew, you are not sure of what the expertise will be, if you're going to get what you ordered versus what you get, that kind of scenario. Or you're not sure what timing. We've had stories of people wanting to use the cloth for Christmas and they ended up getting the clothes 6 months after, that sort of thing. So there is that traditional fear or that traditional suspicion or that traditional uncertainty when people are dealing with service-oriented. Like, for example, in my case, I come across this situation every day because I am in the business of consulting. I have a travel agency. And when people come to you, they want a visa to Dubai. They want a Schengen visa. They want to go to school abroad and all that. Now, the fact that they pay you for your service before you have to deliver the service, it leaves some form of agitation in between when they pay you and when they expect the service. And some of them would always tell you, oh, I've had the experience today I had more than 3 calls of people telling me the same thing. Oh, somebody gave me a number, but my problem is before I came to you, I had that sort of thing. So when you're in a service-oriented kind of business, it doesn't matter what kind of service you do. If you're offering web design service, if you're offering graphic design service, when the person pays you, before you deliver it, there is that skepticism, there is that tension. So it's a little confusing And it can be a little, overwhelming to be able to, how do I say it, sell service-oriented products, even more specifically in the beginning stage to even productize it in the first place, right? So in this session, we're going to be sharing a few tips that will help us towards the process of productizing our service, okay? And giving us the clarity and precision that we require, especially for service-oriented products. So first of all, let us understand productization. So like I said, productization does not necessarily mean it has to be a physical, tangible product, okay? Productization can involve taking a skill, a capability, an intellectual capital, or a knowledge and transforming it into a product or a service to offer to customers. So the customers could be, for example, within the community where you live. It could be within your neighborhood. You might have an office where they have to come in physically to meet you, or you might have to be the one to go and deliver the services to them in their houses or in their places of abode or wherever. It could actually also be entirely different. It could be like the person could be in a different geopolitical zone, or maybe the person could be in a different state. The person could be in another country, right? Which in this case is called the virtual service. And this is what we have begun to see in this era. Before now, it is impossible for you to sit in Nigeria and offer any kind of service to somebody who lives in the UK or who lives in Dubai or lives anywhere. But these days, we've seen it playing out. I haven't been stable in my country for a couple years now. And I have consistently provided services for people within my country. I've provided services for people in other countries, in Kenya, in Rwanda, in all kinds of places, because of the possibility that the internet provides, which is, like I said, called a virtual service these days. So your services can be productized, packaged, sold just like physical product on a shelf in a grocery store, even though they are service-oriented, whether or not they are virtual or they are physically implemented service. So let's look at how we productize our service again. Okay. So productized services can be packaged and offered as subscribe-based services. Like I said, for example, I offer a travel consulting tourism business, right? I have a particular service to provide Schengen visas for a subscription fee or a service fee of 500,000. I take that payment in 2 installments. You pay 250,000 before we start the process. And when we deliver the service, you pay the remaining balance. That is something like a subscribe service. It could be that you have a web development service where you ask people to pay a certain amount of money to get a standard sample-based kind of web design. That could also be called like a semi-subscribe service. It could be, for example, this training that we're offering now in the shortest possible time. I'm going to offer this training in such a way that I do not have to be available real time. In fact, that's why I'm saying that most of the people who are taking this now are even lucky, because in the next couple of months, it's going to be pre-recorded. So I'm going to hang it on somewhere on the web where I would advertise the product, I will sell it, I will market it, but I will not be available real time. The people will just go on to my platform, my e-learning platform, and consume it. And maybe every Saturday I can create like a 1-hour session where I'm able to take their questions or see whatever support I can provide for them in the community, that sort of thing. So that can also be said to be like a subscribed kind of service. So freelancers and entrepreneurs can generate their income from providing a service such as a writing service, a business consulting service, a tutoring or creative or digital services such as graphic design, video production or video editing design, web design, digital or social media marketing service. It could be a project marketing and a project management service. It could be a virtual assistant service. It could even be home-based services such as cleaning service or even a childcare service, okay? So like I said, it doesn't matter what you do or what area you have a skill in. But one thing you must recognize is the fact that thank you so much, Dayong. One thing you must recognize is the fact that freelancing is mostly always does work with servicing-oriented kind of service. And like I said, these services can be offered physically and it can also be offered virtually. So now let's look at a few tips that will help us to productize our service-oriented type of business. So productization is very key. It's a key strategy in creating or running service-based businesses, right? So many services can be productized into a value pack that can be scaled, that can be valued, that can be delegated, and can be even be automated. Like I said, my training very soon will be automated. People will just come there, consume it. I will have to give them access when they pay for the training. When they finish the training, or if it is free, I give them access. Maybe I compel them to ensure that they pick up a certificate after the training or something, or before the training, that sort of thing. So it's going to be a subscribed service that is automated. And then one of the things that is going to be very key, or it should be key about your type of business or whatever service-oriented kind of business that you're going to be offering, it must be that it must be sustainable. So it has to be a service that provides a recurring revenue stream. So it has to be something that when people buy today, other people should be willing to buy. And in fact, we're going to learn in this community as we continue to grow in this community, how you can even continue to upsell. So for example, if I sell my training services to you, I should be able to sell something else to you. So if I sell, join my freelance training for beginners, for example. Now, if I have something, and I think I heard in my previous classes where people are asking me for the other products or other trainings that we have, that's the kind of thing I expect for every freelancer. You should be able to have not too many, but series of products where when they buy this, the same people who were attracted to buy what you're initially selling will be attracted to buying something that is similar to what you have. So that's another essence of productization, because if you have the primary product, you should also find a way to ensure that you can also productize other surrounding products that the same people who buy the first product would have a need for it. As we go on in this presentation, we will see some of the typical examples that will indicate how you can upsell or downsell. It depends on what you call it, to the same sort of clients, okay? So the number one thing you want to do is to ensure that whatever product that you're going to be selling, whatever product as a freelancer that you want to sell or promote or get people to buy, must be a product that solves a recurring problem, okay? It must be a product that people would always need solution for that problem. So it could be, like I said, whatever it is. It could be a graphic design service. It could be a web design service. It could be a tutoring service. It could be anything, right? But just make sure that whatever you chose that you want to sell as a freelancer is something that you're sure people need. And that's the reason why a little bit of research. And when I say research, I do not want to emphasize on it too much so you don't think that it's a boring work, because people, anytime they hear I'm a researcher, it sounds like a very boring thing to do. But researching can be basic. It could just be as basic as doing a small, quick 5-question souvenir to ask people around your neighborhood if they have this pain, if they have this problem, and what kind of solution that they would have really preferred if they had it. If it's something that you have a solution to, you can even present some of these solutions to them for free and see how grateful or valuable the solution that you provide is for them. And that way, after a while, you can productize it. I was hearing somebody yesterday who was saying that there was something a guy began to do out of passion. And when he did it consistently, people started liking it. He didn't even realize that people were going to like it. And when they liked it, he now started providing advice to people who wanted to do similar things. And as he was doing that advice, he was giving that advice, he was creating a group of people who were following him because they were getting this advice. And his friends began to make recommendations to him as to how he can productize that particular service or that particular thing. And then he was afraid to productize it. And then eventually he decided to let him try. Out of peer pressure, he set up the platform to productize it. And from the beginning, he charged it for $5,000. And he was amazed that more than 50 or 60 people bought it. And then from there, he decided to even upsell it to do something extra that the people would want. And then he charged $10,000. And before you knew it, it became a business. And that was a typical story of mine. When I started studying in Ghana about 12, 13 years ago, I used to help students who wanted to come to school in Ghana, in Côte d'Ivoire, in those African countries, those days, to get admission to study in those places. Because at that time, we were having a challenge getting admission, especially for some of us who qualified. But because of the man, no man kind of situation, it was challenging for us. And I did this for a number of students, 10, 20, more. And I was struggling to pay my school fees when I was doing this for students. And one day, a senior friend of mine now called me, and I was in the airport trying to pick a student who came from Nigeria. And he was like, that thing that you are doing, that every time I call you, you are in a bus station, you are in a airport, you are trying to turn that thing into a business. And that was a turning point for me. This was about 13 years ago. This was in 2000 and, 13 years? I think more than that, maybe 14 years ago. I turned that into a business. I started asking for small 20,000 there. I can't really remember. And before I knew it, I got over 100 students come to school in Ghana at the time I was studying, and that paid my school fees, paid my sister's school fees. So sometimes you might realize that whatever solution that you're providing, that you have the talent, the skill, the passion to offer, it can actually be a business if only you can look inward and see what you can turn, how you can turn it around, right? So make sure that whatever service that you're offering solves a problem, and a recurring one at that. The service must also be something that clients will be willing to pay for. So as much as it solves a problem, make sure that it's something that people are willing to pay for. Make sure that when you say there is a price tag to that solution that you're providing, that advice, that freebie, that thing you are doing, make sure that it's something that when you ask them for 10K, for 20K, they will be willing to pay for it. That way, it can be said to be a viable or a potential thing that you can turn into a business. One of the things that you must also try to do when you're trying to productize is to make sure that your pricing is appealing. Don't charge high when the service or the quality of the service that you're offering is not as much as the value or the solution that you're providing. In fact, in the beginning, like I said, I recommend the freebie or the pro bono strategy. Give it for free. Let the people themselves be concerned. One of the things I love to do in my business is, and I really wish that I will continue to find solutions, that God will give me the wisdom to continue to find solutions, that I will hear people say things like, I got more value than what I paid for. Anytime I see that line anywhere in anybody's business, I like to look again. I like to hear people tell me that the value of what I paid for was much more than what I got. I feel satisfied to hear that. And in fact, there is no business that will not be sustainable with that kind of statement. So whatever business that you're doing, whatever services that you're offering, and people make that kind of statement, know that you're already set up for greatness. So in the beginning, I recommend that you try to start with a pro bono service. Ensure that people do not complain that your price is more than the value that you're offering as much as possible. Let people see that you are in the business to help. When you do that consistently and you've built a following and you decide to up your price, guess what? Nobody will complain. But in the beginning, make that sacrifice. Now, formulating the terms of service is also very key. It's very important that you define the conditions on how the services will be rendered in terms of cost, in terms of the deliverable time, and in terms of how available this service is going to be consistently. So when people want to buy your products, I know that there is this crazy strategy, and even today I found myself guilty of doing it. People do not want to put the price out there for people to see. People want to hide the price. They want that people have to inquire about the price. It is important that when people are seeing your products and your promotional materials in the beginning, that they already have clarity as to how much it will cost to buy your product or your services. So make that clear. There is nothing wrong with putting your price out there in the beginning. But even most importantly, let people know how soon. These days we live in an Indomie era where people want it fast food, fast air, fast everything. People want things done fast, and the internet is not making it any easy. So if you have a product, you're designing a graphics piece for 1 hour, let the people know that if they give you 5K, 10K, in the next 1 hour, they're going to get a beautiful graphic design piece. People like to know what time exactly. That every time I tell people I'm going to offer a service to them, the next question they ask is, how long is it going to take? Put that out there when you're also promoting whatever service that you want to have. It must be, like I said, a product that has the potency for a repeat sale. Don't get into a business that people are willing to buy once. And like I said, one of the things I'm going to continue to teach in this community is something called the upsell and the downsell. So what it means is that one customer can buy from you a couple times. So make sure that whatever products you have or the services that you have the potency for repeat sale. For somebody who is doing, for example, a tutoring course or is doing even a cleaning service. If you're doing a cleaning service, you live in a community where cleaning services are required. The fact that they're going to need you every week to offer that same service and you get paid consistently and that business can grow and you can have many staff who are replicating this in different locations makes a lot of sense. So whatever kind of product service you're going to be offering, ensure that it's going to be a repeated need. If your product feels like one that is like water, people are going to be thirsty every time. That business is going to last forever. And in fact, your children might come and inherit them. So now let's look at some of the examples of productizing. And we're going to look at these examples both in the physical service-oriented type of business and in the virtual one. Don't forget that the freelancing the freelancing era or the freelancing model is usually 70% a virtual oriented service. Again, because these days people like to sit from the comfort of their homes and offer services to anyone, anywhere, irrespective of their location. But in some cases, when your business has to be situated in a place, you can also freelance in those type of business as well. So productization could be an offering or could be offering a service directly to a particular group of people in the same geographical location. It could also be one that is done virtually. So for example, an automobile mechanic might offer home delivery service to customers. Most customers hate it. I know for a fact, personally, I don't like it. There are times when my car is bad. I don't mind to keep driving it because it's very painful to go and sit down in the mechanic for hours, for 4 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours, trying to fix something that is wrong. Sometimes the thing is making noise. I would drive it like that for months because I hate to go and sit in a mechanic. So the fact that I know that a mechanic will come to my house to do the car servicing in my place, it makes me feel comfortable because, again, in the Nigerian environment where trust is an issue, you don't want to take your car and go and keep it in a mechanic place. You and I know the story, so we don't even have to go into that kind of situation. But then again, whether or not we don't live in Nigeria, the fact that on a Saturday where I'm not going to go anywhere, the mechanic can come to my house to service it, that mechanic can operate as a freelancer. And of course, that business will be patronized in that manner or in that way. An entrepreneur, for example, who owns a logistics business can provide a door-to-door services to clients. So if you want to have a logistic business, or if you think about it, you don't necessarily have to be the one who owns the product. You can just be the delivery person. And some of you can just sit down and look at your environment, do a bit of a research or nosedive a little bit. There's somebody who is selling a product that is fast selling, but the person is deciding that I'm not going to be interested in the logistical part because it's going to be too stressful for me. You can decide to go to that business and tell them, hey, I will take up the logistics element of your business. I will do the delivery. In fact, there was one idea I even thought about when I was back in Abuja. There was a lady in Lagos Street in Garki, not too far from me. Her food has queue. The queue, even me when I buy the food and I take it home and I keep it in the fridge and I have to dish the soup every time. I'm like, how does she cook this meal? I played with an idea some time ago to just provide delivery services and advertise the business because, again, nobody's not going to eat that food and not going to want more. So my plan at that time when I was deciding to do a logistic thing for that business was to have at least a consistent 100 customers every day that I'm going to be delivering food to. All I needed to do was even to just take a promo plate. I was so sure that even if I take a free plate to some of the people that I knew or advertised to, it is very impossible for them to resist not to buy the second day. So I was playing with the idea of just doing the logistical part and having that woman make an extra pot just for my own clients. So I didn't have to be worried about how to cook the food, how to go to the market. No, that was going to be too much for me. But I knew that the delivery part will fetch me, even if it was a 500 naira extra per plate. By the time I put that 100 plate, I make 50K a day. What business gives you that? So every time I even think about the Nigerian environment, there are too many potentials, too many opportunities that young people are not seeing. Now imagine a young boy who even wants to do the delivery business and has a bike by himself, and he's doing the delivery business and making 500 naira per plate. If he's able to make 50,000 every month, 500 naira times how much time? If you do, I don't know how the math is, but let's say it is 1,000 per plate, that will be, because I think she was selling around that time about 2,000 or so on the average plate. So if it's, let's say it's 500, that's 50K. That's a lot of money, right? That's by the way. A freelancer tutor can choose to offer only math classes, for example, for students who are lagging behind. I have a son who hates mathematics. I hate mathematics as a woman. Is understandable, can be tolerated. But I have a son who he will speak all the English, read all the books, wants all the storybook. Today only, he has asked me for more than 3 different books, more than 10 times today, right? Because he wants to read books, but he hates mathematics. Now, if you have a tutor who all he does is just focus on the students who are lagging, and there are many, I know for a fact that there are many students who just do not want mathematics. So if a tutor, for example, decides to specialize specifically on teaching mathematics in a unique way that will be appealing to students, that is a business already. They can do it physically, they can do it virtually. Now, let's look at some of the examples of digital productizing. A graphic designer, for example, can focus on helping businesses and organizations provide branding services that represents the culture of the business or represents the culture of the organization. Okay, sorry, excuse me. So if a graphic designer offers branding services to businesses, right? He's just interested in helping people create graphic design that represents the culture, the soul of the business, right? That same graphic designer can, for example, charge an average 10,000 naira per piece. You can put this on your WhatsApp catalog. You can say that for every flyer that I designed for you is 10,000. You can even choose to do it 5,000 in the beginning. If you're just starting out, even though you know your onions, you can do it for cheap so you can be competitive. Now, one thing that you should try to do as a graphic designer is to ensure that you are able to project your time of delivery, because that's another thing. People just want to be sure that if they need a graphic design, now they can get it done. Now, the good thing is anybody can be a graphic designer, but sometimes there are people who can focus and do it uniquely well. I design some of my graphics, but again, I know that that's not my core. So I'm able to just tell the graphic designer what I want by designing a simple sample and hope that they will improve upon it. And I'm achieving that, right? So if you decide that a graphic designing freelancing is what you want to offer, you can decide to choose to what do I call it? Offer that services to small businesses. But here's one other thing you can do. You can also decide to train people who want to learn simple graphic design skills. So in that way, you already have two products. So you're already productizing one skill into two products. So you are delivering the service to people who need them, maybe 1 hour per graphics, but you're also teaching people who want to learn how to design basic graphic design and basic graphics as well. Let's look at, say, for example, you chose to be a web developer. I mean, all these things I'm talking about, you do not necessarily have to have the skill now. You can learn it. So a web developer, for example, can focus on helping small and medium businesses to create attractive and interactive websites, right? But that same web designer, even though he charges 150,000 to design one simple website for a business and maybe gives a 5-day turnaround time, can also choose to offer a simple web design class for people who want to learn how to design websites on their own. One of the frustrating things that I personally am going through now is the fact that I've attempted to learn web design a couple times, but I'm not succeeding because there are just a few things that get a little complicated, no matter how simple they are, even though it's just WordPress, but it still is complicated. As I speak to you, I've been on the laptop with my web designer back and forth because we're trying to get a WordPress web design ready for something we're trying to do. So the point I'm making is that a web designer can develop a website for businesses, companies, organizations. The same web designer can sell that same skill. That is another way of productizing. So the examples I'm trying to make clear here is that if you're a web designer, you can charge 150,000 for a simple website, and you can give the customer a 5-day turnaround time, and you can charge 150,000. But whilst you are doing that during the day, at night, you can decide to train 5 people to learn how to design website too, and you can charge them as little as 25,000, 50,000, depends on how much or how good you think you are. That is productizing. A digital marketing consultant can focus on helping businesses to put their business on the internet through SEOs, through Google Analytics, creating social media platforms for them, teach them a bit of content marketing, teach them how they can do paid advertisement. They can do all this package for small businesses for 250,000 per client, for example. The same digital marketer can decide to also design a training, right, or his skill and turn it into a course and teach people who are willing to learn digital marketing for 50,000 per student. He can choose to say his target is to get only 5 students per month. 5 students per month is 250,000. If he gets only 1 client per month, I'm surprised that people don't see the potentials in all of these possibilities that can happen, especially with freelancing skills that are virtual, right? So if you decide that you don't want to do the whole entire digital marketing and you want to focus only on social marketing, which is still a big deal, you can decide to say, I will put together a product. I'll productize something, right, that I will sell to small businesses. I would promise 1,000 following in 1 month. Very realistic. If I want to focus on just following, I can achieve 1,000 following in 1 week. So that's if you now go and learn it and you are good, you can even do better. But let's say you promise the client 1,000 following in 1 month, and you are also able to use that following to sell to 20 clients per month, okay? And then you now promise them like a 10% engagement, and you decide to charge between 50 to 100,000. It depends on you and how good you are. That is already a revenue. That's already a salary there. And imagine that you have not just 1 client, maybe you have 2 or 3 clients that you consistently are serving, and they are getting the result, and each of them decide to give you 50K or 100K every month, that is a salary already. You need not go anywhere. You just sit down on your phone and your laptop and you're doing this thing and you are achieving the set goals and you're getting your money, right? Now, the same social media specialist or expert can decide to also develop a course, okay, that will train a few people on how you can, for example, tag that product as how to sell to your first 100 clients. People would buy, even if it's 5,000 naira, you decide to sell that course. People would be interested to buy anything that helps them sell their products or service, okay? A content creator, for example, can offer content creators content creation services to a client every week. If you're somebody who can talk and you think you have a fine face, even if you don't have a fine face, all these things do not matter these days. People just want things to be real and natural in our day and time. You can decide to learn content creation, and you can offer businesses within your neighborhood. It doesn't matter what they sell. If it is food they sell, you can go to their restaurant and talk about how the food, the soup is sweet and all that. Put it together in 1 minute, give it to the content creator, you put it on the social media, you take your 100K or your 50K, you are gone. This is what the content creators do. Most of the content creator advertisements you see all over the place on those guys who are influenced, that's what they do. They take 200K, 500K to make one single content. You can't do that. You can start first by creating your own following, make content about anything. These days, people just want to see anything. Even if you want to go and make a video of a village in your community, people just want to see what is happening all over the world beyond their space. You can do that, right? And then when you begin to do that and you get a following, you can begin to sell those contents to businesses around you. In fact, you don't even need to market most of the time. They would be the ones to approach you. If you're somebody who says, well, I'm a housewife, I just want to be a virtual assistant, I want to take off the customer service, data management, order management, administrative activity from an entrepreneur who is doing very well. Maybe there's somebody who's selling something and the thing she's selling is moving, is selling. She just wants to focus on delivering the service or the product. You can approach her and tell her, see, I will help you do the customer service. Just give me a phone line for the business. I will answer all the calls. Give me the WhatsApp line. I will respond to all the WhatsApp. There are sometimes when my personal WhatsApp has more than 300 messages to be replied to. If I have for example, what they call it, a virtual assistant close to me, my own challenge is that I want virtual assistant that I'm close to, that I can tell when things change, because the things that I do can change anytime. But if you have somebody who already have a standard business where you can just provide virtual assistant service, and there are many of them, all you just need to do is to approach them. And these are some of the things we will teach you in the marketing class. Approach businesses around you and tell them, I can be a virtual assistant. Just educate me about the information that your customers need to know, and I will be able to send this information back to them. So you can put together that product and sell it to people who are willing to buy. And in this case, you don't need to have too many clients. If you have 1 or 2 clients is enough. If one client is willing to pay you 50K, 100K, if you have 2 of these clients, you can, manage the activity simultaneously, have a terms of agreement. I work only from 9 to 5. So when it's 5, you close. That way, you already have a job in your corner at your beck and call, right? Now we're going to look at the summary of the tips on how to productize. One of the things that you must know, okay, if you want to begin to productize or you have chosen a particular area that you want to focus on, is to actually do, first of all, focus on a niche. So when you choose a particular area you want to deliver or you want to offer service to, stay there. The only thing you want to do is to either upsell or downsell to people within that clientele. Don't move away. I made that mistake. I was in a particular area. I was being known for that area. And all of a sudden, I made a U-turn without making sure that I have pitched my tent well enough in that particular area that I started in. This is something I would tell to any young person who's starting out. Every day I get in touch with them. Stay on a particular niche. Be grounded on that particular niche. Let people know you for that on that particular niche before ever you want to consider. In fact, if it is possible, stay there and die there. I know that the Bible says we can do all things through Christ that strengthens us, but please stay there first. Do that one thing and do it well. Let people know you for that one thing well before you want to diversify. So focus on your niche, okay? Understand your client's need. When you begin to offer that service or you chose that particular niche or that particular service or area, understand what your clients need. And sometimes your clients' needs may change. This particular training that you and I are doing now, in the next batch, it might be a little different because I will probably take feedback from you. I will see how you're interacting with the course. I will see what is working and what is not. And I will continue to improve upon it until I'm sure that it's solving the problems that people really do have. So understand your client needs. What exactly has changed? Do they want you to do something in a different way? Find out when you get feedback and reviews. That way, you know what you can do differently. Set yourself apart. Let there be something unique. If you're going to be offering graphic design training, graphic design service, there's something about your lighting. There's something about your UI UX. There's something about your team. There's something about you that sometimes when people see your work, they will be able to tell that this is this person or this person is a little different. So try to set yourself apart. Review your value. Like I said, that's exactly what I said, right? You want to review the value you're offering. If what I'm doing now, I see that the feedback is not as good, if there's something I can do to make sure that it's better than the last one, I will continue to do that. If you have support system, check them. Maybe you have mentors or you have competitors or you have people who are offering this similar service. For example, if you are a web designer, you want to check what side of graphics does if you're a graphic designer, for example, you want to check what sort of graphics does the web designer need in this day and time. What sort of saving format works? What sort of software do they prefer the graphics on? You want to check the people who are within your space, your support system, your colleagues, what is currently happening within your industry so you can begin to make the review as well. Ask your customers, especially the ones who like you personally. Even the ones who do not like you, actually, I don't even believe that your feedback should be only for people who do not like you. Take insights, take reviews, take feedbacks. From those feedbacks and insights, you will know what you should change. Talk to other people in your industry, like I said, what is currently evoked, what is happening, what you can do differently, what you want to do that. Test your service for your own needs. In fact, this should be number 2, or this should come earlier, because again, when you're offering any service, you want to be able to test it for your own needs. Before you sell the food, are you able to eat it? Before you provide a graphic design, are you able to use it to design something for your own business? And is it working? Are people liking it or not? So you want to test it for your own needs and for your own business. Then upsell. I can't say this enough. You don't want to be boring. You don't want to sell just one thing. Try to upsell when you can. If there are other products that you can create that people need within your space, within your niche, within your industry, try to upsell as much as possible. Now, continue to see, like I said, what other products you can create. That's pretty much like upselling and downselling. What other products can you create that are within? I think I overemphasized on that enough. So please, as much as possible, try to apply all this. Now, the few things you must do before you get started, I put them here at the last because I just wanted you to get most of the most information, but these are some of the things that you must do. You must research. Before you start, do some research. And when I say research, I don't mean that you have to go and look for any academic books or anything. Research these days can be done manually within your location. Just find out what the people need. Find out what the people need in relation to the skill you have, to the passion you have, to the burning, the desire you have in your heart. Just ask questions. Sometimes you don't even have to carry a paper. When you carry a paper, it begins to look too academic. People will run away. Just ask them. You can list the 5 questions, the 10 questions, and ask them to them individually. Engage with them. Start with your brothers. Start with your friends. Start with your colleagues. Some of them will laugh. Some of them will tell you the truth. As you collect information, you will know what exactly it is you can do. Now, understand the why. Why are you doing the business? Are you doing it because you do not have a job? Are you doing it because you want to be an entrepreneur? Are you doing it because there's a problem in the space you want to solve? And what exactly is it? You want to be sure what exactly it is and be sure also that the solution that you're providing would work. Build your service packages. You want to decide on what are the features of the products that you're offering. In fact, this, you should take your time and decide because this is what's going to distinguish you from others. When you design graphic design for some people, or when you design a website for a business, what would be that thing that will be different in the business that was not the way it was before? So you want to tell the person who you are designing the website for what the benefits that they will get from having this website. And you also want to check what features you can add in that website that can make the life of your clients a lot easier. So sit down, take a pen and paper, and list all the features of the products you're offering, and list all the benefits that products you're going to be offering would have. Test your products on your service. I already said that. You want to test your products on yourself first. Get your pricing right. I said that in the beginning. Your pricing has to be competitive. Like I said, if there are services or business or products that you can offer as pro bono in the beginning, just to get easy access to the market, please do not hesitate to do that. Sell, 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 sell. You want to make sure you sell. 70% of your business, in fact, not 70, maybe 95% of your business depends on who is willing to buy the product. But of course, you and I know that it will not sell, and you will not be able to sell if the product is not solving a problem. So you want to make sure that the product is addressing the problem, so you can focus a lot of your energy trying to sell to as many people, because the sustainability of that business depends on how many people are willing to buy, how many people are willing to buy the solution that you're offering. Feedback is key. Get feedback from your people. Review the product and see how you can improve it. Ask for review for your customers. I mean, overemphasize. Redesign and introduce. I do this all the time. I try to redesign the products and then I reintroduce it back to the market. Sometimes even the title of the products will change. The title of this product when we first had it is different from what it is. In the next batch, if we see that it's working, we can leave it. If we see that we need to change a few things, we do it. So as much as possible, when you start a business as a freelancer, make sure that you continue to review, you redesign based off of the client needs. And if their needs continues to change, make sure that you also change alongside with the trend, okay? My final word will basically just reemphasize on what we have learned so far. List the features and the benefits. Write down all the benefits and features of your service. Test them on your business. Or at least test them for free on your friends and family. This pro bono, I cannot overemphasize on it, because to be honest, even me who is speaking to you, I'm almost there with this particular product. If you notice, you're taking this product for free, right? Don't be surprised in the next 3 months when you come back and you hear that people are paying 25K for this same session, because I would have improved on it. I would have probably made it to be a bit more valuable, and I'll probably make it in a way that, you know, would be, people can access it anytime, whenever they're on the go, you know, and all that. So please test your products on your friends and family. If you have to do it for pro bono or for free, do that. Write down the process delivery time from start to finish. When people interact with you, they come in contact with you, how would the delivery happen? Will they get the product immediately they pay? Will they get the product 10 days after they pay? How will you deliver it? Are you going to email them? Are you going to have a live session? Are you going to have a pre-recorded copy? Are you going to come to their house to deliver it? You want to have that, okay? Now, present all of this service delivery. Maybe not all, but the most important one, the key ones. Present them in your promotional material so that people, when they see your promotional materials, already know what they are in for, what they are going to get when they decide to patronize you, okay? Finally, remember that your value proposition or the problem that you want to solve must be evident and must be realistic, as this is the only thing that will keep your clients to come to your doorsteps repeatedly. This is the end of my presentation for today. I hope that I'm able to communicate some value or some information that you need. Some of the areas were overemphasized, they were well flogged, and I'm sure that the message will sink. If you have any questions, please let us know. On Friday will be day 9. Next week, Monday, we'll wrap up it for this training, and then maybe the rest of the 2 days, I will teach you how you can market, how you can advertise, how you can present your products and your services if you already have some. And if you do not, we will usher you into the possibility of learning any other skill. It is important for you to learn any skill that you think aligns with the kind of things that you can do based off of your reality at the moment. In fact, we're introducing something in the coming, on the 1st of October. I think some of you here should be a part of it. We're introducing an associate program where we're going to ask some of you here to be our affiliates to promote some of the trainings that we have on offer, from graphic design to web design to project management, digital and all that. And we're willing to give you 86% of what it will cost for each of the training, though the training strategically is positioned for free, but trainees are expected to pay for their certificate in advance. That's the way our own policy works. And we're going to be able to give you 86% of whatever commitment that the students will pay. And some of you can use that to raise money to buy laptops, to buy the tools that you need to get started, especially some of you who are not in a place where you have the resources to get started in your business. And if you continue to be a part of the community, you're going to continue to learn information, skills, whatever it is you can learn to be able to also drive your individual business as well. So if you have any questions, please ask me. If not, we're going to meet on Friday, and then on Monday we'll wrap up. Thank you so much. Any question? Waji Williams, thank you so much, Ma. I really enjoyed the class. Thank you so much. Ejiro, I enjoyed the class, today's class. Thank you so much. Sorry for coming late. That's okay. Who else is there? Young, please, if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask me. One of the things you can do for me as appreciation, please, is to help us go to our social media page and just drop a comment. If you do that for me tonight, it will be really appreciated. I dropped the post in the WhatsApp group. Just drop a comment underneath the post and talk about the experience you're having. It's to encourage other people. The people who are coming behind you will know that you were here before and you have something to say, and they should look forward to being a part of it. If you are here, you're not following me on Facebook, you're not dropping a comment under our post for this training, you're doing us a disservice, and that will not be fair. So please do that for us today. I'm going to drop the post in the WhatsApp group now. Please kindly do that for us. Waje wants to say something, so please go ahead and talk to us, Waje, and then we can close. Waje, go ahead, unmute yourself and talk. Waje, go ahead. Your hands is raised up. You want to say something? Waje Williams, if you want to say something, go ahead. If not, we can close. You can unmute your mic yourself. I'm trying to unmute you from here. It's not letting me. But you can unmute your mic yourself and go ahead and speak. Okay, go ahead, Waje. Oh, he's still muted again. Okay, so let's call it a day. If there is no questions, we will meet again on Friday. And then on Monday, we'll close the class. And then we will choose the subsequent days we're going to do the bonus class, especially for the marketing. For those guys who have something that they want to sell, there are a couple of things that you want to learn as to how you can sell, position yourself, and begin to sell your products and services. All right, everyone have a good night, and thank you so much for joining. Bye. Bye.